Welcome to the show, everyone. This is the Hold for Hold Pro Wrestling podcast, brought to you by no one, for someone, hopefully. I am your host, Heyman, last name redacted. Today we are covering WWE's Smackdown from, what day is today? September 17th. Pretty decent episode overall. I'm going to give a little bit of my opinion overall on the episode. But before I do that, make sure to subscribe, like, follow the channel wherever you're viewing this content. Make sure you throw just the tiniest bit of support our way. It really would go a long way in helping me continue to do this. But with that out of the way, we had a pretty decent Smackdown. I actually have to talk about something a little more serious before we get into the silliness of pro wrestling. We have to talk about some of the darker things that came out this last couple of days. Dark Side of the Ring released an episode about the plane ride from hell, and if you're on wrestling Twitter at all, I'm sure you've already seen a lot of the discussions around this. Not all of it has been positive, and as these conversations are hard to have, and with that comes a lot of, just bad takes or people that haven't learned really from what is going on and what has happened. And I just really want it to be clear that I stand with all the victims of these abuses that are coming to light now and are still hidden from us. And I don't care if it's a 16-time world champion or one of the greatest ECW originals ever. No one should be allowed to do what those people did. And to be so light about it afterwards and try to make a joke out of it, it's not right. It's bad. It's in bad taste always. And I really hope that, with things like this, the way that people have responded to this, hopefully that sponsors some change in the community and in the wrestling industry as a whole. And I know I could have got away with not even talking about this because, no one's going to really watch this video, but I don't like it. It makes it really hard to be a wrestling fan when, stuff like this is happening and it comes to light like this. It's disheartening and it hurts, but it's the truth. And that's what needs to be listened to at this time is, the truth. So I'm not going to go into too much. I'm not going to talk about this anymore. I think I've said for the most part my piece. Just really hope that this gets a positive response and not attacked. But I truly wanted to make it clear that I stand with all the victims of all these cases. And, what keeps coming to light, let it come to light so there can be some healing for these victims. So I don't want to see people attacking these people saying, oh, they're money hungry. That's never the case. Literally never the case. But beside the point. And there's been some great takes today. Steve here from Going in Raw put out a great tweet. I know Alex from Queen of the Ring and Kayla Vision as well. They've been talking on Twitter a lot about some things that you can actually do and some discussions that they've been having. And so those are the voices I would like to, single out is actually women in this industry, not Steve, but women in this industry that, it's hard. It's a really tough industry to be a woman in, and days like today really remind you of that. So check them out, please, and just be nice, please. Anyways, back to the Smackdown. I thought Smackdown overall was pretty decent. Kind of flew by on me. I felt there was only about one weak point of the show, and we'll get to that. But the through line of the show really has been centered around that Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar storyline, with the Demon Finn Balor being sprinkled in, a little bit of peppering there of demonism, and Big E as well. Big surprise. Big E showing up. So we had pretty decent opening bit here, and even stretching out into that second hour with some more clarification of the Demon, Finn Balor's alter ego, as they say. But let's jump right into this at the beginning. We had a Roman Reigns Bloodline opening segment, come out to the ring. Knoxville is asked to acknowledge the tribal chief. I, for one, will acknowledge the tribal chief as my tribal chief, so consider him acknowledged. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns' match was announced for Crown Jewel, I think a couple days ago now. So they kind of reiterated that. Heyman is instructed to show Knoxville how to acknowledge him, and I love that wording. And Heyman goes on his Heyman promos. He says that the tribal chief fears no man, no beast, and no demon. Says they all fear him. And then Big E comes to the ring. Big smile on my face because I was not expecting Big E to show up on SmackDown anymore. At least not until closer to Survivor Series. So great to see him. He comes out, crowd explodes. He's running down the what's it called, ringside, and then onto the announce table. I saw something about Pat McAfee. I didn't catch it, but I guess maybe he took an L there. Don't know the specifics there, but apparently he took an L. Big E comes down, goes into the ring, has a stare down with Roman Reigns. Great shot of Roman holding up his title and Big E holding up his, and the smile on E's face is perfect. So very excited for that. Getting a little Survivor Series preview, hopefully. And then just before anything else can happen, normal Finn Balor appears, comes out. Michael Cole egging on about the demon is Finn Balor's alter ego. He said that about like 5 times in the 1.5 minutes that it took for Finn Balor to get to the ring. So anyways, go to commercial, we come back. It's announced that Adam Pearce has made the match Big E and Finn Balor versus the Usos, which, personally, I'm not going to complain because I got an Usos match. But the Usos didn't egg anyone on. This is not their... I mean, yeah, they're in the Bloodline, but there's no egging on. Come on. Why do they got to be in the match? Anyways. They also announced that this is a championship contender match. So, okay. Pat McAfee does some good work here, especially saying that he doesn't even know if Big E and Finn Balor are friends, which is a great point. Great point to bring up. That faces don't have to just be friends with each other because they're faces, you know? So, good little bit there. Big E gets the hot tag from Finn Balor to start this. E leapfrogs over Jimmy and nails Jay with an elbow. We get a splash on the apron to Jay. Oh, that looked nasty. They replayed it about two times, maybe 3, and it never gets easy to watch. But I love that move. I hope he never stops doing it. Usos regain control with a good beatdown in the corner to Big E. Usos with a double suplex to E, and we get some constant double team from the Usos. Kind of like how in FTR match, they're doing the quick tags over and over and over again. I love it. It just shows that they're tag team experts. So Big E makes the tag eventually to Balor. Balor hits that little drop down, hits the stomps. But then he gets caught up by Jay, and then we get a dive to the outside from Jimmy onto Finn. Finn's in trouble. We go to commercial. We come back. The Usos are working like a tag team still, really getting those quick tags in. Finn finds a comeback with a Pele kick. Big E is clapping for Finn to get up from that Pele kick. He's really channeling the power of positivity. It works. Big E is in with some belly to bellies to everyone, to both members of the Bloodline. So that was cool to see. He did 2 overhead belly to bellies, and I think he just one like Bailey belly to belly. But then he eventually gets caught with a Samoan drop. He gets up and hits a nice Uranagi, and then a splash to Jimmy. He looks for a spear off the apron, but catches a boot from Jay, which was a really nice spot. I thought he was going to get the spear there. We get a super kick to Big E in the ring for 2, and it was a good super kick, landed nice and flush. Overall that sequence was fast. I think I butchered it. You got to watch it for yourself, but it moved fast and it was fun. Towards the finish here, Balor gets back in. He hits a swing blade on Jay, and then E gets Jimmy up for the big ending while Finn hits the coup de grace on Jay for the win. I don't remember who was pinned here, but it doesn't really matter. Great opening match. Basically a main event match to open your show. But I think it's funny that it was a championship contenders match. Does that mean Big E and Finn Balor have the championship match guaranteed? No, it doesn't. Short answer. But it'd be fun if they did. It'd be really fun if it was like when Finn Balor had that Samoa Joe tag team dynamic for the Dusty Cup. That'd be a really fun dynamic to play with here, but we're not going to get it. So why even think about it? Immediately following that, we have Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman backstage in what I believe is Roman Reigns' dressing room. They're chilling on the couch, just being bros. Love it. Roman says, is there something you want to tell me? No? How about you pretend that I already know and you're just reminding me of it? That was great. The tension that he built with those couple lines. Perfect. Heyman is sticking to his guns, though. He says that Brock is fearful and that Brock has created a false narrative. And that's how you know he's fearful. Because why would Brock create this false narrative if he's not scared? And then Roman goes, he fears me? So is he going to show up at Extreme Rules? And quickly, Paul Heyman responds with a no. He's no, of course not. So fast. And it's very suspicious. Roman doesn't like how fast he responded. And then Heyman has to backpedal and say, well, I don't know for certain. I'm just assuming. And Roman looks at him and says, I'm not paying you to not know. So good segment there. Really enjoyed it. We come back from either commercial or we cut straight to the ring. We have a Rick Boogs, Robert Roode match. Rick plays Nakamura's entrance while he's going down for a match. I guess it's fine. At this point, if you're going to make Rick, like a singles guy, kind of, he should have his own song, and he should be able to perform that song. That'd be pretty fun. But it's beside the point. Go to commercial, we come back. Roode's in the ring, so he got a jobber entrance, which really makes me sad because I love Bobby Roode. This match was pretty fast. It was a really short match and not much really going on. Kind of a squash, if you ask me, but Roode does get a huge chop in the corner to Boogs, and that was really the spot of the whole match. He teases for the glorious DDT, but gets hit with a squatting Samoan drop. Boogs hits the Booze Cruise, which is just a pump handle power slam for 3. Looked really safe. I really enjoyed watching that. Boogs and Nakamura are celebrating by the announce table, and Commander Aziz with a huge boot knocks out Shinsuke. And Boogs has to, kind of respond, but first he has to gingerly lay down his guitar. Comes around, Apollo Crews is there, they're beating them up. Apollo Crews picks up Nakamura for like a press slam, and he drops him on the announce table, which I would have been more impressed if he actually dropped his whole body on the announce table and not just his face, but beside the point, still fun to watch. Apollo Crews goes into the ring. He calls out Nakamura, who's laying there on the floor. He says, "Is this your king? You've made a mockery of the IC title." It's a decent argument. I like that he's getting involved in this, and I like it's a good bit to jump into. It's like Nakamura is a king. Apollo Crews claims to be a prince. It's whatever. It makes sense, right? Isn't that all we want? And he demands a rematch, so I'm pretty sure we're either going to see that at Extreme Rules or next Friday, or one of the two. We might even get a tag match next Friday. Which, I don't know how people feel about Aziz, but I like it. I like this dynamic. I think they play off each other well. I might catch some hate for this. I actually like their pairing more than I like AJ and Omos's pairing. And I think they're kind of trying to do the similar thing. Well, actually, I don't know. I don't think their main goal is to get Aziz over. It might, but it doesn't seem that way to me. But either way, it should be a fun match. I love Apollo Crews and I love Shinsuke Nakamura. Any chance to see them in the ring together, I think that's a recipe for a good match. Next up, we get a Happy Corbin, Kevin Owens match announced. This match is sponsored by Progressive, which normally I don't point these things out, but I thought it was funny that the guy who went bankrupt and then won all his money back by gambling is sponsored by Progressive, so that's great. We get a Kevin Owens interview at Gorilla right before the match. He kind of went on in this interview. I didn't even write down the notes because I didn't really like it, but he essentially says he's going to turn Happy Corbin's frown or smile upside down into a frown, and then he was looking for a word that rhymed with smile. It was weird. Didn't really like it. I think Kevin didn't like it either because when he went out there, he kind of was like, "Let me just pay attention to the crowd." So Anyways, Kevin making his way down. Corbin attacks him from behind. We get a choke slam onto the apron from Corbin to Kevin Owens, which was nasty. And Corbin walks off, looking happy, put on his fedora. Go to commercial, we come back. We have a Paul Heyman interview with Kayla Braxton. And Paul is just so mad. But first, Kayla asks him, how does Brock feel about the draft? The possibility of him going Raw? Great question, Kayla. This sets Paul off. He blows up at her and just yelling at her, saying that he's not his advocate anymore and that maybe she has a crush on him because she's always stuck in him. You know, it was pretty funny. I liked it. And then he turns around, he gets spooked. Really, it looked like he legit got spooked by Big E. Paul applauds Big E for winning the WWE Championships, but said you knew you wouldn't be able to cash in on Roman. He says Big E says we'll see at Survivor Series if it's even Roman he'll be facing. That was a good burn there. And then we get a just sudden super kick to Big E. I think it was a double super kick to Big E from the Usos, and they proceeded to beat him down. I gasped. I was completely shocked when he got super kicked because I did not see that coming. And it was so well done. And the Usos are beating him down saying, you came to the wrong show. You came to the wrong show. So it's really teasing this Survivor Series rivalry. And I know a lot of people don't like the whole brand supremacy gimmick of Survivor Series that it's become. But in my opinion, I think it really works this year with the Bloodline, like, claiming to own WWE essentially and claiming to own the A show. I think that it works in this case because if you center it around that and the Big E New Day feud, I think it's going to work. If you start including every single person in the locker room, then it might get a little bit washed down. But the premise of the Bloodline owning SmackDown is, I think, a good point to start at. Following that, we get a Seth Rollins promo in the ring. This was actually funny because Seth Rollins made his entrance before Paul Heyman's interview. So he was sitting in that ring forever before he actually talked. He says that he just goes, someone really should have helped Big E. I thought that was hilarious. But he proceeds to talk about the Edge match and how it affected him. He said that what happened to Edge was scary. We get a great recap package of the match. He said, I just have one thing to ask. What did you think was gonna happen? It was one of the greatest wins of his career, but he couldn't enjoy it because everyone thinks he's gone too far. He defers the entire blame onto the crowd. He says that you guys are the reason that happened because you provoked Edge into provoking me. I thought that was a great line. The crowd was like weighing back and forth in interest, and he sucked them back in, I felt like. He says he's not done with Edge. He knows that Edge is sitting at home because Beth Phoenix said so on NXT 2.0. Glad that someone watches it. That was just a joke. And he asks Edge directly. He looks right into the camera as if Edge is watching. He says if he's physically and more importantly, is he emotionally capable to step back into the ring? He says that there was 1 second where he felt sorry for Edge, and that's been eating him alive, and he just wants to move on. Great promo. Edge is going to respond, I'm guessing next week. I don't know. I thought he would take more time off. But, yeah, I can't wait for a Seth Rollins Edge Part 3. I don't know if it's going to be at Extreme Rules, or I saw someone mention on Twitter that it might be TLC, which would be really fitting. Either way, this needs a stipulation, and this needs to be the blow-off, and I think it could be one of the best matches of the year, personally, because their second one was one of the best matches of the year, so, yeah, great. And Seth Rollins wearing a weird, aluminum foil suit. It worked until the pants. I thought the pants were a little too baggy on him, and so his creases were kind of messing up. Minor detail, but yeah, it worked until the pants. Moving on, we get a Becky Lynch interview. She's in that weird half ring setup that they have backstage. Kayla is there, and Becky's in a full Kill Bill outfit. Looks great. She says that the outcome of Extreme Rules is going to be the same as SummerSlam, and she's going to check out Bianca's homecoming. Oh yeah, we're in Knoxville, so this is Bianca's hometown. Um, Following that, we have a Zelina Vega and Carmella tag team match against Toni Storm and Liv Morgan. This was the low point of the night. And it's so unfortunate because of how much we wanted the women to be on the show last week. This is what they gave them. And it's not all bad. We're going to talk about this a little bit later, but this part right here was not good. First of all, we have weird nicknames for Toni Storm. Michael Cole calls her the wild child of the 80s. Don't like that. Sounds like an NXT 2.0 gimmick. Toni, does she start off the match? I'm pretty sure, yeah. Toni starts off the match. She powers up Zelina for a suplex. Both women tag in their partners, so Carmella and Liv are in. Carmella gets caught up, and Liv does a kick. So Carmella goes face first into the middle turnbuckle. Then Mella goes to the outside, and she's just crying that her nose is messed up. She's yelling and screaming, kind of like Ricky Bobby when he gets out of the flaming car. It's kind of like that. And Mella and Zelina take the count out. Zelina helps her to the back. She's really concerned for her friend. And yeah, it was not good. It was a 6-minute match, and it was unfortunate. Liv immediately challenges Carmella to a match at Extreme Rules. And then we get a Street Profits promo. They say they're hungry for the gold, but unfortunately it's silver. They're challenging the Usos, but oh yeah, so yeah, they're just challenging the Usos. They kind of did like a rhyming thing. I don't know. They were going back and forth. I didn't pay too much attention to it. It wasn't the most captivating. I couldn't stop thinking about how the titles were silver and not gold. But unfortunately for them, Finn and Big E are next in line, according to this championship contender match. So I don't know what they're getting at here. Which a Street Profits versus Finn and Big E match would be really fun. So I wouldn't mind it. Following that, we get Carmella and Zelina in the trainer's room. Carmella is fine. She just takes her hands off her nose and reveals that her nose is still there, much like a child does when you pretend to take their nose. So, yeah, it was weird. Mella accepts Liv's challenge, and Zelina puts out a challenge to Liv, saying that she needs to face her first. But Zelina's already lost to Liv Morgan like 5 times. I don't know. This story is not going anywhere. I'm glad, a lot of people are glad, and I am too, that this does mean that Carmella and Liv Morgan will have a match on a pay-per-view, and it's a non-title match. So, it's kind of a bigger deal. I don't know. It's just, this isn't a good setup for that, unfortunately, and I wanted more. But fortunately, we do get a better setup for another match a little bit later on. But following this, we get Finn Balor explaining the Demon. I've never shared my thoughts on the Demon because fully I'm 50-50 on the Demon. I like the concept of it because it reminds me of I don't know, like Kota Ibushi hulking up mid-match and going like trance Ibushi. Or even just Hulk Hogan back in the day getting no selling. You know what I mean? I like the concept because it adds a second win to matches. But the Demon character being like the alter ego, and Finn acknowledges that it's not him, it's Demon coming up. I don't like it. It's too Venom, and I never liked Venom, so it's just not my cup of tea. And I'm not a big fan of the headband thing that he wears. I'd be fine with just the face paint, but just the headband thing, it doesn't work for me. I don't know. He's so it's regular Balor to talk about this promo. They do some mood lighting with it, like this red lights in the back. He's clearly right next to catering. He probably smells all the pot roast. He's hungry, so this is fueling him, I believe. He says that he's not privileged like Roman. He didn't grow up in a wrestling family. His family were railroad workers. Tough to say. He says the Demon comes from inside. It's a manifestation of all the people who've wronged me, and that the Demon summons him, not the other way around. And then we get I don't know, a lot of people like the transformation into the Demon, cutscene, so I'm not going to hate on it too much, but I don't like it. That was corny. Anyways, we get a Bloodline, and we get this announced. This was big. I think it's going to be the title of the video. The Bloodline versus the New Day in a six-man tag match is announced for Monday Night Raw. I didn't think we were going to get this. First of all, I didn't think we were going to get it on Raw, but let alone this soon. So this is fun. I like that these world titles are interacting. I like the storylines that are going on with them. It's fun. And you got so many layers with Roman's story especially. So good stuff. Our final match for the evening, we have Dominik Mysterio with Rey Mysterio versus Sami Zayn. Michael Cole said that earlier in the day, he talked to Dominik, and Dominik had told Rey to stay in the back for this match because he wants to show him that what he's learned. But no, Rey immediately comes out with Dom. He sits at commentary. Pat has a nice little line, and I don't know if it was like he thought they were already on commercial or he didn't think no one would pick it up, but he says, "It's an honor, sir." And Rey says, "Oh, thanks, Pat." Like, I love it. It felt real, and just to see someone pay respect to legend Rey Mysterio like that, I love it. Anyways, though, come back from commercial. Dom's in trouble. Well, Sammy actually before commercial, Sammy goes up and kind of starts to mess with Rey, and that brings Dom out of the ring. And then Sammy does the whole cat and mouse thing, so he goes back in and immediately attacks Dom as he comes back in. And Rey is so good on commentary because he's not ignoring what's going on in the match. He sounds like your dad at your basketball game where he's bothering you with how much he's involved with what's happening. Really enjoyed it. So yeah, when he gets caught up there, he's like, "Oh no, Dom, don't do that." It's so good. So gets the boots to him. But go to commercial. We come back. Dom does a comeback with that. What is it called? Like he grabs the wrist. He goes up to the top, kind of like Undertaker old school style. Goes up to the top rope, does a double bounce, hits a Rana on Sammy. It was a good spot. Looked pretty clean. Sammy tries to go for the same move, but Dom actually boots him off of the top rope. And then we get a big plancha from Dom onto the outside to Sami Zayn. Back in the ring, we get a tornado DDT to Sami Zayn for a 2. And the crowd at that point popped. I was really surprised with how much heat this match had. So gearing up towards the finish, Dom hits a 619. He's a little slow getting to the top rope. And in Dom's defense, I didn't think he was that slow. And Rey was on the outside going, "You need to get up there faster. You need to be faster." I thought he was going pretty fast. So he goes for the 619, catches the knees from Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn rolls him up. We actually don't even see the roll up, really. We just see the last count. So Sami rolls him up for 3. Sammy gets in Rey's face, telling him that he's not on his level, that Dominik is not on his level. And Rey just kind of mouths, "Watch. You watch and see." I love this match. I thought the story was fantastic. I think Sammy's the perfect heel to have in this position because it's not Dominik getting destroyed constantly. It's Dominik just coming up a little bit short. And we're really seeing the growth of him as a performer inside the ring. And those are stories that I think are often left on the cutting room floor for, opting out for like squash matches. Kind of like how we saw with I forget their name, the Dolan brothers, the Colan brothers, something. Those brothers on NXT that are part of Diamond Mine, they're having a bunch of squash matches right now. I think that's the more common route we see wrestlers develop. This is what I like. There's layers to this story. He already has a feud built into this, and it's not centered around like personal stuff. It's just about the in-ring, and I really enjoyed it. Following this, we have Bianca Belair's homecoming. This is actually the main event, which surprised me, but I enjoyed it. I was here for it. Kane actually comes out first. Mayor Kane, Corporate Kane, whatever you want to call him. He comes out there. He does his fire pyro. We go to commercial, come back. Bianca makes her entrance. Her family's up front, and they look so happy to be there. I love that. Sometimes you get a wrestler's family, and they just look like, "My daughter does this." No, they look so supportive. Loved it. And she says that Knoxville made her the EST. She says her dad taught her to always finish things. And then Kane presents her with the key to the city. I know that what's his name? Glenn Jacobs? I'm never going to call him that. It's just Kane. I'm sorry. So Kane presents her with the key to the county. It's a huge key. And Pat says that it's going to open every door in the county. And then he kind of offhand says, "Yeah, it's going to open like the really big doors too." I loved it. I don't know why. She leads the crowd in singing the town song. I don't know what it is. I'm bad at town songs, period. She says that. And then that's when Becky comes in right as they finish the song. I was expecting Becky to come in before the song was finished, but she actually let the song kind of ride out there. She comes out, she's mockingly singing the song, and she sees like pictures of Bianca, like as they have them set up on the outside, and it's like Bianca doing track. And she's walking by and she goes, "You look fast there. You look really fast." Uh, and so Becky gets in. She just says that results going to be the same as SummerSlam, but she wants to be the bigger man since they're in their home. She's in her hometown, so she puts her arm out for a handshake. Bianca reluctantly shakes her hand, but she doesn't let go. And so Becky goes for a right hand. She misses. Bianca gets her up for a KOD, which I thought was going to go through the table and through the key. That would have been really cool, but no. Becky slips out of it and hits the manhandle slam, exits the ring, and holds the women's championship up. Good segment, but why do we have to embarrass wrestlers in their hometown? We are past this. We are far past this. I don't know. There was a nice moment, but like her parents are there, man. Like you couldn't have let them at least get equal footing, put Bianca on the same page as Becky. You know what I mean? Show that she's grown since that SummerSlam mistake. I don't know. That's just me. But like I said, overall, pretty good show. I know last week I started off with I started this trend. I might have done it on the All Out review. I don't remember, y'all. It's been 1 week and my mind is already flowing. But so I wanted to talk a little bit. Overall, I felt the show was a solid 4 out of 5 stars. Stars, whatever. Might do fingers. Might be my thing. We'll see. It was a solid 4 out of 5. Truly flew by. The only thing I'm knocking it on is that women's tag match. I would have been fine with the finish if the tag match actually would have went longer. And we ended the show tonight with 2 minutes left on the show. I don't know. So that's the only part I'm knocking it on, honestly, because I felt there was a lot of good stuff going on there. You know what? Now that I realize it, I don't think I discussed Naomi's. Yeah, I did not discuss Naomi's. Yeah, this was one of the highlights of the show, and I didn't even talk about it. So, my bad, everyone. So, before the Dominik and Sami Zayn match, we actually get Naomi going up to Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville's on the phone with a woman named Karen, and Naomi gets in her face and tells her that, where's her match? I want my match. And that she's a former women's champion. She deserves to have a match on the show. And it's a good, strong segment. I really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, my notes got a little bit hectic there, so I forgot. But trust me, this is one that you want to seek out. I know that people on Twitter are already retweeting it. It is a good segment for Naomi. It builds to a match with Sonya, which I'm really excited for because I love Sonya Deville. So, yeah, I mean, this is going to be great. And then later on in the show, Michael Cole announced that WWE has fined Naomi for insubordinates. So this story is getting juicier and juicier. I just really hope that it ends in a good way, first of all, and it actually follows through, doesn't get dropped. So, yeah, man, sorry about that, guys. So, yeah, like I said, overall, the show, 4 out of 5. My spot of the night was actually that super kick to Big E in the Uso beatdown backstage. I really did not expect that to happen. Before that, it was the chokeslam onto the apron to Kevin Owens. I thought that was pretty shocking too. But that was my spot of the night. Yeah, overall, good show. Would love to hear what you guys have to think about this show tonight. Yeah. Oh boy. Just realized something, but it's okay. Anyways, make sure follow the channel, subscribe, follow us on Twitter. We're at Hold for Hold on Twitter and Instagram. I live tweet every show, so you can hear my opinion right in your face as it's happening. And stay tuned for more Patreon content. I'm looking to make some bonus content for everyone. But without any further ado, goodbye and good night. This was a good Smackdown. Goodbye, guys.